There's two new artifact sets coming out in 2.6, and honestly, from what I know right now, I don't think I would ever use them whatsoever. They're not worth the resin cost. They're not worth the power increase if they even do that for the characters. Let's talk about them right now so you don't waste all of that currency, all that resin, all that mora, and all those tears on new artifact sets. The first one's been talked about in my Discord quite a lot already, and it's the Vermillion Hereafter. And it looks pretty powerful on the surface, but let's break this bad boy down. Now, the two-piece bonus for this is 18% attack. We've seen this on things like the Gladiator set and the Shimenawa Reminiscence set before. These pieces are often used together to give you a lot of attack, like 36% attack, and this one will be another one where you can run multiple two pieces for 18% attack together and get that great 36. However, the four piece here is where things get a little overhyped in a lot of circumstances. And actually right now, I think there's only one character that can even utilize this set, sadly. So here it is, the four piece. After using an elemental burst, this character gains the nascent light effect, increasing their attack by 8% for 16 seconds. When the character's HP decreases, their attack will further increase by 10%. This can be triggered 4 times, so a max of 40% additional attack plus that 8. So the four piece can maximize you out at 48% attack. Now this stat can only be triggered once every 0.8 seconds, which is not that big of a deal. However, if you leave the field or if you use your elemental burst, your nascent light stacks will be reset. So face value, this looks awesome. 68% from triggering the four piece, and then also another 48% on top of the two piece. That is going to be an additional 18% for a grand total of 66% attack, which is awesome. A lot of characters. However, keep in mind, you have to take damage to get that additional 40% attack. And it is not worth a character sitting there and getting smacked over and over and over to get that 10% additional attack. Shield damage doesn't count. You actually have to decrease your HP pool. Now, there is one character that can get max stacks quite easily right now, and that is going to be Polearm Boy, Pogo Stick Hopper, Xiao out there. So he can get the full 66% attack. One of his best sets right now actually is two-piece Gladiator, two-piece Shim Rem set for 36% attack. This will give you 66. That is 30% attack higher. I've ran the numbers behind the scenes, and if you have someone like Bennett in your team buffing up your damage, that attack change, that extra 30% on someone like Xiao is only going to give you around 10% extra damage, which is quite substantial. If you haven't farmed a gear set out for Xiao yet, 10% against your average two-piece Shimram, two-piece Gladiator build is a good amount. However, you have to farm up a whole brand new set. In the brand new set, the good old Vermilion Hereafter has to have equal or better substats than your current set. And if you want to go out there and farm up a brand new set for at most 10%, if you get equivalent substats, which means you're gonna have to be just as lucky as you were before farming up all that gear. If not luckier, because you're using Gladiator set on your Xiao already, which you probably didn't farm anyway. So you have to farm up a full four pieces to just do, at best, 10% bonus damage. If your substats are worse than your old artifacts, you're not getting 10% bonus damage anymore. You're getting 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You're throwing all that resin away, all of that mora away for up to maximum 10. Maximum. And you're probably not even gonna hit that. You're gonna be throwing away a ton of resin and a ton of mora to do minor amounts of bonus damage on one character in Genshin. Now, the second set really kind of caught my eye because it's something that is very cool in theory. Now, this one is the good old Echoings of Offering. And this set as well has 18% attack as the two-piece, and the four-piece is very interesting and is doing something that we've seen before with Shenhe as well as Yunjin. The four-piece here is when your normal attack hits an opponent, there is a 36% chance that you will trigger something called Valley Right. Now, this will give you additional damage. It's going to be normal attack damage equivalent to 70% of your attack. Keep this in mind. Do not misread this. It is not increasing your normal attack damage by 70%. It is an additional proc, quite like Yunjin does, as well as Shenhe. What it is that this is something that is going to be raw damage based off of 70% of your attack. So say you have 4,000 attack, 70% of that, you've guessed it, 2,800 raw damage. Then on top of that, you're going to multiply your crit chance and crit damage. If you score a crit, you're going to get your crit damage in there. And then if you have very high elemental damage bonus up and you're doing elemental damage, or if you have very high normal attack damage bonus up, you're doing normal attack damage, you will multiply all of those things on there as well. So this is gonna, with a good build, give you probably like an extra 10,000 damage if this procs. Now there is only a 36% chance that this is going to proc. The bright side though, and the silver lining, is that every time it doesn't proc, it is going to have a 20% higher chance to proc the next time. So the first time is 36, then 56, then 76, and then 96. And between the first hit at 36% proc rate and the second hit at 56% proc rate, between those two, you have just under like a 70-ish% chance, between 65 and 70, to at least get one of the procs between the first two hits, which means you're gonna get this damage bonus about 60-ish% of the time, all things said and done. However, it is still RNG, and variance does exist. You could go runner and hit this all the times in a row, or you could go 4 times missing it, and until you hit that 100% chance to score it, you're gonna get it there. And so this set was very interesting for me to break down, and honestly at this point in time, I don't really know if it's all that worth it. However, there is a good thing here to note, is that it has a 0.05 seconds time for it to dispel that proc. So if you have a character like Yoimiya who has attacks that hit multiple times in one hit, or maybe like a Yato in the future, if this does proc on a multi-hit skill, you will get that damage bonus for both of those hits. However, it's still extremely RNG, and this, like before with the previous set, is a brand new set. And do you want to invest in a brand new set, moral-wise, resin-wise, and time-wise, and tier-wise, once again, when you have so many other alternatives available to you right now? Because there are so many alternatives for a DPS normal attack set that exist already. If you're farming up something for a Yato, we already have the Heart of Depth set that gives you 15% hydro damage and then 30% normal and charge attack damage already after you use your elemental skill. You probably already have some of this farmed up. Do you want to go back and farm up something that might be a slight DPS increase if you're lucky and not horribly unlucky at the same time? If you're using a character that isn't a Yato in the future, and their best 2-piece right now is 2-piece Shimrem set and 2-piece Gladiator set, are you really gonna go in there and crunch out all of that stuff for an extra 3, 4, 5% damage increase, when the only thing to do endgame in Genshin anyway is do the Abyss a little bit from time to time? It is nothing but a resin sink and a resin drain, in my opinion, and that is why I'm going to steer clear. And yeah, if you're a brand new player to Genshin in 2.5, 2.6, you're going to get your hands on Xiao for the first time or Commissaro Yato for the first time, definitely go for these artifact sets first, because you don't own any pre-existing stuff that's well rolled that these characters can already use. If you already are an older player and you have that stuff, this video was definitely about why I'm not using from these. This is not like the other sets we've seen in the past. These two new sets don't look anywhere near game-changing for certain characters, like we've seen with the Husk of Opulent Dream set for a lot of Geo defense characters, or even the Emblem of Severed Fate set for Raiden Shogun and a lot of other characters in the game as well. These two new sets are a far cry from those.